Hi guys, Rob Flux here from Property Developer Network, and we're here for another Ask Rob Anything. And today we have one of our annual members, Daryl, who I've known for a very, very long time, who's going to ask me a tricky and curly question, see if you can stump me. So, hey Daryl, how's things, mate?
Good, Rob. How are you?
Not too bad, mate. We go back a long way. I'm going to say close to 10 years. We didn't even realize that we're in the same property circles, and then one day as I'm driving up the road, I kind of bumped into you as you were crossing the road and found out we lived about 50 meters away from each other.
That's right.
Yeah, so that was kind of serendipitous, but I guess we've bumped into each other many, many times over the years, and mate, always good to keep track of what you're up to, and you're up to a couple of deals at the moment, I understand.
Yes, that's right. I just finished off a couple, so.
Yeah. So what have you got on your plate to give some ideas to people out there as to what you're doing?
As in finding the deals, you mean? Or
as in the size of the projects you've got on, and you know how many you're running at a time, that sort of thing.
I'd normally just do one at a time. So 1 and 2s, or one to 3s, up to 4s. I don't go too big. And yeah, it's usually been doing it with a JV as well. We both put money into the deals, and we both run the deals. So
very, very good. So if anyone's out there wanting to invest with Daryl, I'm sure he'd be happy to have a chat to you. Mate, here to ask Rob anything. So you've got a bit of a curly problem. So tell me a little bit about your challenge and how can I help today?
So I've got a slopey block. So it falls away from the street. It goes about, say, 2.5 meters to 3 meters drop from the street to the rear. I'm just wondering about, what do I need to do? Like, do I need to provide retaining walls? Do I need to put fill on the block? Can I sell it as it is? I know I have to work out stormwater access to the site itself, which I'm in progress of doing that at the moment. But is there anything like, would buyers be put off by with the slopey block itself?
Okay, so you've touched on a couple of elements, and I'm just going to step back a step to give everyone else some context, then I'll step in and answer your question. So slopey block towards the rear, which means that all your services need to be towards the rear of the property. So there's the first problem is the development potential of the block, and as you've touched on, you're trying to resolve that with regards to the stormwater lawful point of discharge, sewer access and the like. So I guess that's the development capability, but then the next part is the profit capability and, you know, any objections that the buyers are going to want out of the process. And that's where most of your concerns are, I'm anticipating. Right. If we step into the shoes of our ultimate buyer is really wanting most of the problems actually solved for them. You know, Joe Public inherently doesn't know how to do property development. They don't know how to solve many of the issues and challenges that we face in the process. And so as much as we can, we want to help them to make a decision without having to understand, well, how do I engineer for something like this? How do I resolve a problem with regards to the cost of construction, that sort of thing. Now, it doesn't mean you have to actually build it and construct it. But at minimum, what you need to do is you need to help the ultimate buyer to visualize what that might be. So that might be putting a design that is, I guess, a contemporary design that would be suitable for that particular area and demonstrates that A, solution can actually be done, and B, that you can cost the solution, and that you've got a builder in mind that's willing to take that on, that can I guess, give some idea as to the budget that they would be up for a total spend. You see, when Joe Public is taking that on, if they just see the slopey site, what they see is a problem, and the first thing they see is dollar signs to say, well, I'm going to have to go spend quite a reasonable amount of money with an architect to come up with a design to put on that block, even before I can work out my budget. Right? Well, they might have a budget in mind, but can they build for that budget? So you're trying to take that problem away for them. Now, you can do that relatively cost effectively without having to build the final solution for them, okay? What we can do is we can get some off-the-shelf designs that are, I guess, designed specifically for the scenarios that we're talking about. There are many different suppliers out there that have off-the-shelf designs that you can actually, I guess, go and do searches on and say, well, will that actually fit on my block? Will it actually suit the design and style? You can purchase those designs prefabricated, and or they will customize specifically for your site. Now, one of those sites happens to be, I guess, a supplier into the property developer network. I guess they get a lot of business from us, and that is called Architectural House Designs Australia. So AHDA, Architectural House Designs Australia. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do a very quick screen share. And this is their website. Now, they have a whole bunch of designs off the plan that solve all sorts of problems, okay? So if we come to their design catalogue, we can actually see that they've got small lot homes, they've got Hampton homes, they've got signature ranges, there's acreage, granny flats, etc., dual occupancies, and here we are all the way down the bottom, slopey blocks. They also have other problems like flood-prone sites and that sort of thing. They have custom things like rooming accommodation. So you can buy a whole bunch of different designs off the shelf. And if we go to the slopey blocks link, now the images at the moment just don't appear to be coming up, but you can see that they've got a whole bunch of designs already off the plan. So if we come in and have a look at this one, for example, you can actually see what the finished product is going to look like. You can come down, see what the floor plans are going to look like. You can even customize these floor plans. You can get the floor plans by themselves, and you can also get the full architecturals, including structural engineering, by that off the plan. You spend that money, you take that to a builder and say, okay, how much would it actually be to kind of build that home? Now, by putting that together, you can then put together a house and land package. By putting a house and land package together for your marketing, one, it's going to help your builder because your builder is going to get a build sale out of that. Two, by doing house and land, you get rid of the land sooner in the process, and the house construction goes to the builder, and they can customize it to meet all of the specific requirements that the end user is actually looking for, okay? So this is really just to try and get them interested in the site and say, can we get them to the budget? Then they deal with the customization directly with the builder. They don't have to worry about any of your back and forth, or they can come back to AHDA and get the original plans customized. And I'm sure that you can hand over I guess, the original file, given that you've already paid for it. So that's what I would do. The problem with not doing the alternative, and the alternative is actually putting retaining walls and that sort of thing that you've said. If you put those retaining walls in the wrong spot, you're constraining what the house design might actually come up with, okay? And so you want to try and avoid that, because sometimes they might actually want to dig further into the hill. They might want to actually use the hill to their advantage with regards to undercroft storage, all sorts of things like that. So we're really just trying to give them something that I guess is within a budget and can visualize the fact that they can do this without too much hassle, and you're giving them to suppliers that can solve that problem for them.
That was one of my concerns, was I do all this retaining and then the all gets ripped out because it's in the wrong spot. And well, what was the point? Now they've actually got an added cost to get rid of it, to reinstate it.
Correct. And so we eliminate that problem altogether by A, not incurring the cost, and B, not causing a problem for the next person coming in, but instead giving them a workable solution that is a paper-based solution rather than, I guess, a constructed solution. Now, I guess the ultimate outcome, Joe Public is, not only do they not have time to solve problems and they're not aware of how to solve problems, but inherently they're time poor. So if we had budget, I would actually take this all the way through to completion and physically construct the finished product. Take away the problem altogether. Now, when they turn up, what they're really looking at is, do I like the home? It's not how do I solve the problem. It's really how do I actually, come up with a design that's nice and appealing, and they just kind of look around, it's staged really well and go, yeah, I really like it. I'd love to take it. So as property developers, our ultimate goal is to solve problems, both time and complexity, for Joe Public, who inherently either doesn't have time or doesn't know how to solve those problems on their own behalf.
I like the idea of giving a design, but I wouldn't be into actually building the product itself for the budget type thing. But
well, I guess that comes down to budget, that comes down to cash flow, velocity of money, turning your deals over, that sort of thing. That's going to be very unique for each person, and it's also going to be very unique for each area. There are going to be times when selling as vacant land will make you the money and selling as a finished product won't. There's going to be other times when selling as vacant land won't make as much money, but taking it all the way through to completion will maximize the return. So you've got to judge that on a case-by-case basis, based on the area, based on the supply and demand of the area. But I'm sure you're fully capable of that, mate, having run a few deals in your time.
The last 3 deals I've created vacant lots of land and sold quite well. So
yeah, and right now vacant land is booming. So it creates a great opportunity for velocity of money, turning those deals over as quick as we can.
Yeah, that's right. I like quick.
As do we all, mate. Well, there you go, folks. That is another Ask Rob Anything. If you are an annual member and you would like to ask me something tricky and curly, and try and pull something out of the bowels of my brain, feel free to lodge an application through the links below, and we would love to see you on the next Ask Rob Anything. Until now, it's bye from me and it's bye from Daryl. See you guys.
Thank you.